Hey, Goat Knucklers, this is Flo. Welcome back to Goat Knuckle Talk with Flo, where our high school stories come alive and our memories are precious. So, guys, if you're liking these videos, and I'm pretty sure you're enjoying your classmates, share their stories, man, you need to subscribe to the channel to get some more of these videos. You can hit that notification bell so you can get notified. Like the video and also leave a comment, and this definitely helps our channel so to grow even longer and bigger legs and more legs. So anyway, let me go ahead and introduce you to my co-host, Lisa Nolan Hafner with the glasses. Something, yeah, I like it.
Yes, old age. Anyway, hello.
How you doing? How you doing?
Also, I have like no makeup on, and I'm like, oh my lord.
You got lipstick on though, at least, right?
I can do that with this hand.
Uh,
This hand isn't bandaged, but it's still in bad shape. So
yeah,
it's hard to, it's hard. All these, I can. That's about as far as I can bend my arm
yeah.
without it feeling like it's going to explode. So.
Ouch, ouch. What you went
Or
through.
my glasses are more of a masking my face so I don't scare people.
Come on. Hey, by the way, Merry Christmas.
Merry
Our
Christmas.
last show before Christmas, and then we'll have one more. I'm gonna go ahead and announce it. Next week, Lisa's gonna have the privilege of meeting my daughters, Riley and Maya. They're gonna come on board just for fun to end our year with my girls and talk to them about just living in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and
Oh, I can't wait to ask them questions about their dad.
oh no, 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 we don't want to go there. But anyway, hey, the reason why we're on is STS 30. We want to go in more detail what it means. So I know I mentioned that we may reveal what the STS stands for, but Lisa,
After careful consideration and conversations and deep thoughts, we have determined that we're not going to reveal it. It's just one of those, if you know, you know, and if you don't, you don't, and eventually you will, because that's how small towns work, right?
yes, it does. Yes, it does. Well, anyway, guys, STS 30. It is a new segment on our show that I think we've done maybe 4 to 6 of these shows, and it's definitely different from our regular show. Meaning our regular shows, we dive deep in the memory banks of our brain and pull out some high school stories and share those uh, to our classmates, our audience. But this one is more like, what are you doing today? It's more, what have you been doing the last 40 years? So, Lisa,
and
what do you
also
think?
and also subject matter, like if somebody has done something that we want to highlight, like when we had Regina Bodeker on. um, she's what she's doing with her gym is a really amazing thing for young people, and so that's a subject matter story, and so those are human interest stories that we want to continue to have here, um, because it's also about their career or path, or their vocation. And so that's kind of what the show's about. It's
Yeah,
just
go
deeper
ahead.
conversations with the person about their life and what
Yes, and our regular shows, we usually provide questions to the guest days before the show so they can have an idea what we're going to ask, and the questions are just really conversation starters. But STS is completely organic, and we will just start asking the questions and listen to the classmate, and then just go from there. So it's like the one we just did with Cash Terry about him climbing mountains, for the last, I don't know, what do you say, 10, 15 years, I think.
years.
Yeah, so it was pretty fascinating in my thought. That's something I would never consider, even when I was thin and muscular and all that stuff. No way. I mean, that's just not me. You know what I mean? But it definitely he loves it. It's a passion for him, and he enjoys it. Him and his wife. So, and we're probably going to try to invite them back, both of them. So, anyway. So This STS 30, who's it about, Lisa?
It's about me and it's about you.
Yes, it is. So, guys, after I was lucky in my young career, I've been in sales all my life, management. I've been general manager. I've owned a business, but it's mostly I've been in over the sales department, and it started in Lubbock. And I don't call it Lubbock. I call it Lubbock. And as a retail and a wholesale store called Arts Theatrical there in Lubbock. In the retail part of it, they sold a lot of jazz. What do you call those? Tapping shoes, leotards, things for twirling. So, and it was also a costume show. The warehouse, the wholesale part of it is where I was working, and we would sell wholesale fabrics, acrylic, sequins, appliques, stretch lamaze. I mean, anything that the fashion industry or the retail fabric store would buy and sell to the moms. And it was mostly moms who were sewing, who would sew up a dress or a costume or whatever it was. But we would sell these to retail stores. And where the luck came in, I was able to travel the country and do trade shows all over in the major cities at my young 20ish, like 21, 22 years old. I was a kid going to San Francisco, LA, New York, Atlanta, Chicago, Kansas City. So, I mean, it was pretty cool, seeing the country on the company's dime. But my job was to make sure that I came home with a lot of sales, So, but I met some great people, customers, and also met great exhibitors as well, and got close to many of them. And one group especially, to the point that they hired me from Lubbock. Well, actually, I moved to Dallas, and then they hired me. They knew I was out of the industry, but they hired me back into the industry, and they gave me a call and said, "Hey, how would you like to work for us?" And this is Lewis Textiles out of New York. I'm like, "Sure," figuring that, hey, I'm gonna, have a territory and you'll drive around Texas and Louisiana, whatever. He goes, no, 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 we want you to move to New York. I'm like, what? I think I was like 29, maybe. I was like, huh. And I'm like, I was dating a girl, and it was serious. And talked to her, and she goes, "I love New York." I says, "Move," and so I did. So I, this little Texas boy out of Plainview, Texas, moved to New York, and the day I landed, was the worst winter in 10 plus years, and all I had was a coat.
Oh
So
my
needless to say,
God.
uh, my one of the guys I worked with, Mike Zeichman, hey Z Man, he picked me up, and I stayed with him for a month, maybe two, but somewhere in Brooklyn, and
Was that
finally, come again.
was that culture shock?
Oh yeah, because it was a Hasidic, and what's the other Jewish? I mean, it was a Jewish community, and I mean it's where the Jewish men were either black or navy suits. They had the hat, and I don't know what the curly things, the
Mhm.
and the women same thing. They wore black or navy, and I was just a culture shock when I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. There you don't see this in Plainview or Lubbock. And yes, it was definitely a culture shock, and I again moved in with them, and then finally I think they were like, it's time to get your own apartment. I'm like, okay. So they told me where to move in Brooklyn. Wanted to move in the city, but what I could afford. Oh no, no. I did not want to live in the area that's really high, crime and drugs and stuff like that. So I moved to Bay Ridge, which is near, oh crap, was it Bay Ridge? A Navy. There's a naval, uh, what do you call
Naval
it?
base?
Naval. Yes, and It's actually where the horizontal bridge connects Staten Island to Brooklyn. It's I think Berry Ridge. I'm like a couple of exits. I mean, a couple of streets from the exit coming off the horizontal bridge. And the horizontal bridge, guys, if you know what want to know what that bridge is, if you guys watch that movie Saturday Night Fever with John Travolta, it was the scene where the guys were monkeying around the bridge, and one of the guys at the end fell to his death. That's the horizontal bridge. So, but anyway, so I
And a
moved there.
little trivia there.
Yes, absolutely. So moved there, and again, culture shock, but it was mostly Italians and Irish people that lived there, so it was cool. Uh, I don't want to get too much into this, into me living in New York, and there's a reason why, because I did speak to a classmate who also, I'm not going to mention her name yet because she's considering it. She also lived in New York and worked in fashion like I did. So, but uh, anyway, I'll just tell you a quick story. So, before I moved from Lubbock to New York, I mean to Dallas and then New York, I was into country. I was going to Midnight Rodeo. My jeans were extremely starched. My shirts were starched. I had my cowboy hat. So moving to New York, I was like, I had to find a place, and I found a place in the city called Denim and Diamonds off of 47th and Lexington. And so it was cool, but I didn't have a car then. And then I would have to take the transit, the subway. So I would have to walk. And New York blocks, even in Brooklyn, are long as hell. So I would walk, wear my, what I call it, my rustic wear. And of course, I get eyes from all the locals and guys yelling, "Hey, where's your horse, Tex?" or shit like that. But I didn't care. I rode the subway into from Brooklyn into to New York and to the city, and then went to the bar, to the club. So it was pretty cool. But on the way home, of course, New York and Chicago, those cities, they close at 4. And so I would stay out very late. And so I took a car service, which cost more money. But I'm like, you know what? I don't want to put myself in harm's way by taking a subway at 3 o'clock in the morning. And it's usually about a 45-minute trip because there's a lot of stations you have to stop. But I would take a car service, and but it was a lot of fun.
So when you get to the club, was everybody else dressed like you?
No, no, not at all. It was cool. There was a group of people that were regulars, and I got to meet them, but I didn't hang out with them because it seemed like they were just a tight knit and they didn't want to let anyone in. And they all danced together. They're phenomenal dancers, and I forgot where they were. But what's cool about those guys, there is a country singer. Oh, he just performed the Plainview. Sorry, guys, I forgot the name of the country singer, but he did a video and by the Brooklyn Bridge on the Brooklyn side, and he had those people, the people I knew and met on the video dancing. So it was pretty cool. So, but when I danced, it was tough. It was tough dancing with these because a lot of the people were tourists or from the other boroughs. It wasn't that, it's not like going to Midnight Rodeo in Lubbock, Texas, when 90% of the people are from Lubbock and they all know how to dress and dance. And no, none of these people did. So every woman I danced with at the beginning, I kept kicking them because they didn't know how to two-step and I was trying to teach them. So I learned to always, I mean, I didn't learn, but I would dance backwards. So that way I won't kick them and then it'll throw me off. But there is a story though. There's a funny, I'm at a bar drinking a beer and all of a sudden I see a pair of Rockies walk by. And Rockies were huge in Texas and Oklahoma. And anyway, I saw a pair of Rockies. I'm like, ah! So I chased her down. I'm like, hey, I'm from Texas. Are you from Texas? She says, no, I'm from Denver. Close enough. So we danced all night. She knew how to dance. Finally found someone who could two-step and all that stuff. So it was a good time. Yeah. And one time I got wind because I think there was different like there was a post I forgot the other papers. It was like 3 publications, newspapers, and there's one called The Voice. Well, I remember they had Rick Trevino. He's his dad was a Mexican singer. I'm sorry, the Hispanic people are gonna be mad at me. I forgot the dude's name, but his dad was a real friend, a Tejano singer, and Rick Trevino was a good country singer in the '90s. Well, he performed at the World Trade Center and like in the kind of like not a courtyard. Yeah, it was kind of a courtyard, so it's pretty cool to see him. By the time I got there, I was way in the back, so I couldn't like have him see me. Hey, I'm from Texas, man. But no, that didn't happen. But that was pretty cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. So
How long did you live in New York?
a couple of years. Lived there a couple of years. Oh, and the reason I was telling you about my starch clothing, so I would take it to a local cleaners there, and the Chinese people, I said I want extra starch. Okay, and so I said okay. So when I get it back, it wasn't not the way Texas did. It was like it was flimsy, and so when I made a trip to Texas, visit family, but also do some sales there and flew back, I brought a pair of starch jeans. And when I showed it to them, I said, "This is how I want my jeans." They're like, "Why? Why do you want your jeans like that?" I said, "Can you do it that way?" And they're like, "No." They wouldn't even attempt.
Oh
So
my
I
God.
so I would have to wear wrinkled Wranglers unless I went home and
Oh,
then that
oh,
time put them
you
on the
poor
cleaners.
thing.
I know,
You
but
poor pitiful thing.
so yeah, that was pretty cool. But then I mentioned that before I moved, I was dating a serious girl. We got engaged and we got married, and when I was at a tech was at the Cotton Bowl, and it was I think I don't know, it was their first time, but it was the last Southwest Conference Cotton Bowl, and Tech was in it, and they played USC, and we got our asses kicked because I forgot. Oh man, you see, when you get old, you forget things. I almost had it too, but there was a receiver. Man, he was something Johnson. But anyway, so I had these group of guys I played softball with, and one of them was the GM of Black Memorial Schematic, and he asked me, "Hey, you ever consider moving back?" I said, "Maybe." I said, "Yeah, is he now going to get married soon?" I said, "Talk to me." He goes, "Yeah, I want you to run commercial." And I'm like, "Okay, why not?" So I came back to New York, turned my notice in, and came back. And but I'm gonna be honest with you, if I did not marry my first ex-wife, I would have stayed. I love New York so much that
Really?
yeah, oh my God, I loved it. I loved it. I mean, I would still be there, you know, if that didn't happen. But that means I wouldn't have my kids. But
That's
but
true.
yeah, but New York was pretty badass. Well, when I moved back, we got married and lived in Lubbock for a little bit. And she had a college roommate who was a principal for not principal. She was a art teacher for an elementary school in Sugarland. So she asked my ex-wife if she would consider teaching there. She goes, "Yeah." So we drove to Houston or flew. I don't remember. But anyway, she got interviewed and got the job, and I got a transfer. And this is back in '97, so that's how I ended up moving to Houston because she got a job here, and I was going to get a transfer. And to make a long story short, I worked there. Then I ended up working at another foundation repair company in the multifamily industry, and I worked in that industry for 17 years. Uh, networked a lot, and I met a lot of people on the vendor side and also on the management side. And I was in different clubs, and actually the best thing that I did and I loved is I we would have fundraisers, and we would help like Red Cross or breast cancer awareness. And so I volunteered a lot of that, and then I started what's called damn Lisa, I can't believe it. All Star Challenge, and they to this day they still have it. I mean, it wasn't my idea, but because me and some other people in the industry, we participated in another All Star Challenge for another fundraiser, and they gave us the idea, but I ran with it, and we raised a lot of money. I mean, a few $100,000 when I was there. And then we had during breast cancer awareness, we had a golf tournament where you had 4 women, but then you had one male golfer, like a caddy player, and we raised a lot of money in that. So I was really involved in the fundraising. It was a lot of fun. And then left that industry, and then kind of left the industry, but now I'm still working in apartments. But my company is considered a sub of Miscellaneous Metals. So these contractors who are building these apartments in Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, San Antonio, Austin, they what you call is buy out. They buy out the trades. They buy out framers, roofers, concrete guys, utility guys. In our case, we're the miscellaneous metals, so we fabricate all the balcony rails, all the stairs, and install them. All the perimeter fencing, dog park fencing, pool, whatever, drive gates, and also we do a steel erection. So I run that division for the last, I think, 9 years, because I started as an estimator and then I got promoted to running that division and been doing it since. And it's a lot of fun. It's a little stressful. I had an issue today that will fire that I delayed it for another week, but hey, it's part of construction. But it was a lot of fun. I still enjoyed, and I told my boss I've been there 13 years, and I'm gonna give him 7 more years. So I thought, okay, on my 20th, I can retire. So
So you've lived in the Houston area this whole time since you
yeah,
moved there?
since '97, huh?
Wow.
Yeah, we lived on the west side of Houston, which is west of the Beltway, off of Briar Forest, and then bought a house on the furthest northeast of Fort Bend County. Um, and then I moved to like the Jersey Village area when I got my divorce, and then married again. And then I lived in Spring, got a divorce. And then I met my current girlfriend, and so we moved to we moved to Waller because she has 2 kids in school, and then we moved to Hockley, and then I bought a house in Hempstead, 6 miles northwest, north, 6 miles north of Hempstead, in a gated community, kind of like a rural subdivision. So 4 years. Been here 4 years, and I love it. And it's kind of like a country living. Every time I drive, I gotta avoid hidden deer or cottontails. And I guess you guys saw. I don't know if you saw that video posted last week or week before of that hog-nosed snakes. Uh, well, yeah, there was a snake right next to my truck, and actually, when we had Deborah's dogs, one of the dogs got bitten by a copperhead, I think. Yeah, or coral. A boy got bit by a poison snake twice.
Did
So
you live?
yeah. Usually dogs live, but we gave her Benadryl, and I mean, there was a time like I didn't think she was gonna make it, but yeah, she lived. But I was talking to my boss who lived in the country. He says, "Oh man, it's common. Dogs get bit all the time because they're dumbasses." Yeah, but he goes 90% of the time they survive, but they're like paralyzed almost.
My dog got hit. I had a Doberman that got bit by a copperhead and he almost died. He was in the hospital for 7 days.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd worry about Shibuzi, because I don't know if he's seen a snake yet. So hopefully you won't. But no, it's so cool. It's I live off a dirt road, and if when I go at nighttime at my front or my backyard, there's no lights, there's no street lights, nothing. It's dark. I mean, I look up, it's just nothing but stars.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we don't have no, like I said, no street lights.
So
And
you don't hear traffic or
well,
any.
I fortunately I do, because my backyard is at 2979. So that's the farm market road. So there's a little noise from that, but I mean that's okay. And there's
It's not like sitting. It's not like living in downtown Houston.
no, absolutely no. Or New York. Oh geez, New York was really loud. But we have 4 2-acre ponds here, and I love throwing my kayak on those ponds, and just fish, from
What a
morning till like
tranquil existence.
lunchtime. Yeah. so I don't have to go far to go bass fishing. So, but that's all in kind of like all in a nutshell. Oh, I've got 3 children, beautiful children. Connor is with my first ex. He will be 26 in January, and that dude's like 6'3", tall and skinny, and he is a what do you call paramedic. And then my girl's Riley, who's the oldest. She's graduating this year. So I'll be flying in May for her high school graduation. And then Maya, who is 16, she's a sophomore. And I think Maya's now like 5'8", maybe 5'9", and Riley, poor Riley, she's like 5'5", 4'5'4".
Like for Riley, being
uh,
petite is not a bad thing.
well, both played volleyball, so it does help to have some
Yes.
heights when it comes to volleyball. But no, but yeah, 3 girls, and then again, I mentioned at the beginning of the show that we're hoping to. I mean, we're going to have them on the show unless something comes up. They're going to be on the show next week, and you get to meet them. So
Nothing better come up. Those girls better be on.
I know, right? That's
Yeah.
it's out of my hands when it comes to exes. You know what I mean? But that's all on the. I mean, I can. What's the time? That's 20-30 minutes. So that's my cue to turn it over to you because we can go another 30 minutes and
Oh my gosh,
so
I don't even know where to start. I'm gonna do the short version,
okay.
um, because other
Where
than
did
you,
where did your mom and dad conceive you? No, I'm kidding.
I
I'm
was
kidding.
I was born and raised in Plainview. We used to actually live in Edmondson. My dad owned the gas station and auto mechanics shop and auto parts store. And my mom had a beauty shop across the street, and she owned that for 13 years. But we lived in, I guess, when I was 7, we 7 or 8, we moved to Plainview on
Why did
campus.
y'all move to Plainview? I mean,
Um, well, because I think the house that we lived in out in the country, we were renting it, and my dad wanted us to move. It was just more convenient to be in town, even though they still worked in Edmondson.
yeah,
We could walk to school, or it was just more convenient. And
okay.
they got to buy a house that they eventually remodeled, so that was kind of the impetus for that. Anyway, so I have moved around a lot. Um, I took a At the end of college, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I got hired at Southwest Airlines, and at the time, I lived in Phoenix, and that turned into an 18-year career in which I lived in, um, let's see, the first transfer was to Oakland, and I was there for a couple of years, and then opened Salt Lake City and was there for 3 years, and went to Jackson, Mississippi, and opened that station. Birmingham, Alabama, and then took a year sabbatical and bought a historic cafe in Berea, Kentucky when I was
Kentucky.
32. Yeah, when I
Okay.
was 32 years old, and I'd never even waited tables. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. So I managed the employees and did the menu and all of that. And my then husband, whose mom and stepdad lived in Berea, Kentucky, he, was in charge of the office, basically ordering that sort of thing. I will tell you that was one of the richest experiences of my life.
What kind of food did y'all serve?
So in the morning we serve like breakfast tacos, biscuits, biscuits and gravy, biscuit sandwiches. And at lunch, I made a bunch of homemade soups, and we had paninis and regular gourmet, from plain sandwiches to gourmet sandwiches. And the clientele changed throughout the day. I had all the old timers that would come in for coffee in the morning. I had a coffee bar, and we also had hand dipped ice cream. It's a great little cafe. But here I was, this stranger to this place. Berea only has population 11,000, and I don't know anyone, and people weren't so welcoming, let's just say. Like, who is this outsider coming into this tight knit community. And so when I would tell them that I was Smith and Debbie Powell's daughter, um, then they would start to warm up to me. And I had to do a lot of PR. But at the end of the day, when I was there for that year, these people just embraced me. And I'm telling you, it's probably one of the richest experiences of my entire life. Um, that was entirely all the skills that I learned at Southwest Airlines of leadership and mentorship and customer service. I was able to translate those skills into this small mom and pop shop. And I was blessed to be beloved in that community by the time I left. That, a lot of people came out and cried, and lots of love and hugs. And so for a young person who went in blindly and cluelessly, it was a tremendous experience. But let me tell you, I have never worked so hard in my entire life. I don't know how anybody is in the restaurant industry. Oh my God, I would never do it again, ever.
Oh hell yeah, the hotel and restaurant industry. I mean, you can make six figures, but you're probably with all the hours, it's probably like 30, 40K, you know?
I would get up at 2:30 in the morning to do my yoga practice so that I could be at the store by 4, prepping all the soups, making hummus from scratch, making dips. And yeah, I mean, we didn't open until 7, but it was grueling, grueling. I couldn't get enough sleep. I would go to bed at 6 p.m., 6, and I was 32. Um, and it was stressful. It's a very stressful endeavor. You're managing a lot of things, and I mean, I pay respects to people that run restaurants
Yeah.
because, like, hell no.
What was your what was your signature dish?
Um, People really loved my hummus, and I will tell you this. So I'd make a lot of different soups, like a carrot ginger bisque, or a minestrone, or mulligatawny, or uh, uh, lentil vegetables. Those were some, and these are not from a recipe, just from I belonged to a co-op. What was the produce that was in front of me, and I just got creative and I made soups. I studied recipes like I was reading a book just to get ideas. I am not a recipe follower. I have terrible ADD, so I couldn't do that. And people would come up and ask my kids that I employed, like, I want to know who made the soup. And they were thinking they were going to complain. And they'd point to me, and this lady's like, I can feel your healing energy in your soup. And I had to just come tell you that. To me, that was like the most rewarding thing. It's like I just won the lottery to get that kind of praise for something that I concocted without a recipe, So yeah, it felt good. It felt good that people enjoyed what I was cooking for them. I put a lot of love into it, but I think I aged 10 years in 1 year. It was hard.
Wow.
Yeah, and so from there, I went back to Southwest, went back to Oakland, and then from Oakland to Baltimore, and that was culture shock for me. Um, Maryland is a very unique state. They're right on the Mason-Dixon line, and so Southerners don't think they're Southerners, and Northerners don't think they're Northerners. So they're kind of in this little gap, this razor's edge between the North and the South, and they are not quick to warm up to you. They're not trusting. And you have to work really, really hard to create bonds there. But when you do, man, they are super tight, like unbreakable bonds. I've been away from Maryland for 20 years now, and I'm still close to the people that I was close to when I was there. And another really, really rich experience. I never thought I couldn't wait to get out of there. And then I was bummed that I had to leave.
Yeah. Did you know that Mason and Dixon are actually people's names?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
They they were famous surveyors from Britain.
You know, living in that area, I went to a lot of the Civil War battlefields. It's a eerie, um, even if you think that you don't feel energy, I'm telling you, you're gonna feel something when you go there. I think if every human went to a place like that, a hallowed place of tremendous
Yeah.
loss, that you feel it so intensely that people there would not be any war. If people experience what I experienced there, they would do everything they could to avoid ever being in a military conflict.
Well,
Yeah,
because we fought each other, that you can add the World War One, World War Two, the Korean War, the Vietnam War. They still are there's a lot less American lives than the Civil War. I mean,
yeah,
we lost. There's a lot of Americans who lost on both sides
yeah.
during the Civil War. So where'd you go from there? So you said you went back to Oakland,
Oakland
Southwest
and
Airlines.
Maryland. Yeah, and so at Southwest Airlines for the first 10 years, so I started out at the ticket counter as a customer service agent, and I loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. I thought I was just going to work there for, a year and then go back and finish school and go to graduate school, but I fell in love with it, and within a year of being hired, I started putting in for promotions, and I was 22 years old. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and by that time, I had hardship transferred back to Dallas to be near my family, and I was the second youngest supervisor for the company. But, I learned from so many senior people because in Dallas, that's the home base, that's the hub. So everybody, they gave me a hard time. They definitely initiated me. They're like, who's this punk ass girl who's 22, who's brand new to the company, going to supervise me? I've been here since day one. And I would tell them I was just brave enough or maybe dumb enough to step up to the plate, but I'm not implying that I know more than you.
Yeah.
I'm here to learn from you. So anytime a situation would occur that required a management person, me, to come and handle it, I would ask the employee, what do you think we should do? How would you handle this? And they're like, really? You're giving me that power? I'm like, yeah, you've been here 10 times longer than I have. What's the win-win? And they're like, oh, okay. So then they started building rapport with me because I wasn't there like, okay, I am now the supervisor. I'm like, no, you're always in learning mode, and great
Yeah.
leaders have the humility to learn from their subordinates. And I didn't look at them as my subordinates. I'm like, these are my teachers, and I'm going to learn from them, and I'm going to be good for them and because of them. And anyway, so I did that for 10 years. And then what then my husband moved he so I took a demotion when we went to Salt Lake City. We both interviewed for an upper level managerial position, and we both got the position. Two different departments, but we would be, equal titles for different departments. Our director changed his mind and said that can't happen. So only one of you can get promoted. And I thought long and hard, is this really the thing that I'm passionate about? And is this how I want to spend my career? And I decided that no, because I wasn't living my purpose or my passion. And I chose to take the demotion. And that's how we ended up having to move to all those places. All those were promotions for him. So whenever he got promoted in an airport, I could no longer work in that airport. I had to find a different department within the company to work. So I started as the executive assistant to the regional director on the West Coast, and then it was a position I created. I wasn't getting paid for it. There was an arrangement. There was a
Yeah.
compensatory arrangement, think like a contract employee. But then when we moved to the East Coast to Maryland, they actually created the position for me, and so I supported the regional director. And I really missed being in a leadership position. I did not like being in a secretarial position. I did not like that at
Yeah.
all. Um, it was very humbling
Yeah.
for sure, and I did a good job, but I lost the passion for working there.
Well, yes, but now your passion, now you have your true passion, I believe. What are
Yeah,
you doing it? So that did that push you into this? Or were you doing while you were you doing it while you were working in
I
Southwest
was doing
Iowa?
it while I was working. Yeah, I actually started working at a gym when we were in Oakland. We lived actually in Alameda, it used to be a naval base that sits between Oakland and San
Hmm.
Francisco. Think of it as it's a little island. Anyway, I worked at a gym and at an art gallery when I was there the second time, because the first time we were in Oakland, I was a customer service supervisor. The second time, he was now a station manager. I couldn't work at the airport, and the marketing department didn't have a spot for me. So I had to take another leave. And that's when I started training in earnest. And then when we went to Maryland, somehow I got derailed to going back to Southwest full time. And I just was like, pushing. That's why I just didn't fit into any department because I didn't want to be there. I worked with the flight attendants for several years. I did like that job. I love the flight attendants. I loved the mentorship part of it. Um, to me, I have lots of kids that I am still in touch with 20 plus years later that I hired, and now they're in their 40s and married with kids. And I hired them when they were, 21. And to still have those sweet relationships is another milestone that was really precious in my life. It's like all these, I feel like I've lived a lot of lives. That's what it feels like. Because each state that you live in has its own unique culture, and unique customs and unique accent and whatever. It's like living in all these micro countries, moving to these different states. And I just feel really, really blessed to have had such a rich experience. I never thought I would be coming back to Texas, honestly. Um, I don't think I wanted to. Um, but a lot of blessings have happened since I've been here. I also got a divorce and have now met the love of my life and been together for 11 years. But this is the longest I've been in one place in my entire life. I've been here 20 years now, almost
Well,
21.
good.
Yeah.
That's
And
good.
I'm ready to move. I've got the it. And
When
so
I was traveling, it was fun, but there was times if I stayed in a hotel a week or two. One time I stayed 2 weeks. I was ready to go home. I'm like, I was tired living out of the hotel, but all right, well, fast forward now. What are you doing? What's your passion now? Or been for the last, I don't know, 15, 20 years?
20, 30 years, 30
Oh,
years.
wow.
I have been, I'm a personal trainer, a functional training specialist, Ayurvedic yoga specialist, a yoga teacher, and a certified yoga therapist. Um, I love, 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 love what I do. And, I get to my career and my vocation, my dharma, my purpose. It is all one and the same. I love helping people feel better physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I love teaching people how their body works and how to optimize the gift that they've been given. Um, I love inspiring people through my stories of hardship and pain and transformation. I've had tremendous amount of health issues in my life, and it is an absolute miracle every day that I am alive. And so I live my life as joyfully as I can and as fully as I can. Um, yeah, it's just it's a gift. It's a gift, and that I'm so blessed with, and I want to share that. I want to share that with people. Can you tell I'm passionate about it?
Absolutely. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, because you're saving people's lives. You're um, how can I put it? It's a life change for them. So I assume some might have medical issues. They've come to you, or they just want to tone their body. Or I mean, I figured that what you're doing for them and the ones that keep coming back to you, you probably made a big change. I mean,
Well,
pretty
and it's
impactful.
at the end of the day, Flo, if I could, if today was my last day and somebody asked me, what's your legacy? What do you hope to leave behind? And that is that I hopefully through my work show people how to love themselves. I hope to reflect that to them because it's been a long journey for me to feel that way about myself. But it's the journey we should all be on of loving ourselves. I mean, truly loving ourselves, not in an egotistical way, in the purest way that there is. Because how can we love somebody else if we don't know how to love ourselves?
True.
And so through that's really the core of who I am and what I try to give all my clients. A lot of times physical pain or mental pain or whatever is just the byproduct of something that's deeper, that's more spiritual and emotional, like I don't feel worthy, or I don't love myself, or I have shame, or I have fear, or I have guilt. And that's why I got into yoga therapy to help people recognize that we are all lights. And I want to put a spotlight on everybody and say, look at how wonderful and marvelous you are. You are a gift. There's no one else like you. Celebrate you. You
Oh,
know,
yes,
when you
yes,
start to feel that way, you elevate yourself and you want to feel better. And therefore you're motivated to make better choices. It's a snowball effect of
yeah.
wellness. Anyway,
Oh,
that
good,
that is who I am 24/7.
good for you. That's good. Uh, well, let's go back a little back in the high school. Can you share a fun memory from high school? Could be anything, anything.
Mm, all of my fun memories have to do with cheerleading.
Okay, why?
I lived and breathed. It consumed my consciousness 24/7. I loved being a cheerleader. There's nothing else I've loved more other than what I'm doing now as being a cheerleader. And my siblings would attest to that because I used to talk in my sleep and I would do my cheers in my sleep. I'd get an elbow. My sister and I shared this tiny twin bed, and I'd get an elbow to the side or, kick in the leg or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, all of that, I just being proud to get to represent my school. To me, cheerleading was an extension of my joy and enthusiasm. I loved school. I loved learning. Um, I couldn't wait to go to school the next day. Yes, I'm a total nerd, and I love that about myself. Um, so, I didn't get to socialize a whole lot. I had to love something, or I would have been a depressed kid. But yeah, no, all my cheerleading memories, but
Yeah,
especially I'm going to say my 2 years of varsity. Those were really special years.
that's cool.
Um, and just, you form a sisterhood with all the cheerleaders, whether they're your upperclassmen or lower classmen. You know,
Yeah,
it's a special club.
and
It's
that's
not
pet.
any different than all the being in band is a special club.
Yeah,
It's a unique microculture within our school. And those are bonds that, even if you don't stay in touch, those
Right.
memories remain really precious.
Yeah, I mean, mine's the same thing as playing baseball and playing sports overall. But my passion was baseball, and loved the sport. And my dad, he was my number one instructor. I mean, he from a kid when I was a kid, and I wanted to practice. He was dog tired, but he would take me to the field and hit ground balls to me or play catch, and he wasn't athletic. I mean, he was not athletic, but he did everything he could just to be there for me. And it wasn't for him, I don't think I would have been the player I was. And
What a testament to how much he loved you.
oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm telling you, he knew we had to practice, and he would come home and we quick dinner, and then we'll go to the fields or some park. I mean, some area just throw the ball and hit me fly balls or whatever. Well, he wasn't that good hitting fly balls. He would throw them, and even then, he made me run a lot because he had good accuracy. But and then he got me that Trans Am. Oh my God, that was my love right there as a sophomore. And there was a house up front that was getting remodeled, and there was a guy that had owned a blue Trans Am would park up front. And I'll tell my dad that's the car I would want. I mean, I want a Trans Am. And Smokey the Bandit. And one day I was coming up, I think I was driving his white van. There was a brown Trans Am out front where that blue one would park, and I just knew it was mine. We had a big front yard, so I'm like, slid, jumped out, ran inside. Where are the keys? Where are the keys? What are you talking about? Give me the keys. And he gave me the keys, and I love that car. And to this day, I regret selling it or trading it. Oh, I regret it. But yeah, it was a lot of fun memories in that vehicle. Road trips. It was a fun ride. So, and we only have a few more minutes left. I want to share what teacher impacted me. It was our senior English teacher, Cynthia Young. And when we're going to school, then senior English was not required for college. You didn't have to take 4 years of English. Only 3 were required. But I still took it, and I got lazy, and I was like an AB. Maybe I had some C's. Very rare I had a D, but I mean, I wasn't straight A's, but I was a okay student. But she had a lot of books to read, and I didn't read. I didn't like reading books. I didn't. That's back in the MTV era. I mean, I want to get home and watch my videos. That's all I wanted to do. And so I didn't read anything. So every test I took, I flunked the test. But I would do other things to make up for it. So I forgot. I don't know if we had 6 weeks or quarter or semesters. I don't remember what we had back then, Lisa.
We
But
had quarters.
get us. So there's the first quarter. Flunking was 59 and below, and she gave me my first F ever, and she told me she had me stay after class. She goes, she called me Flo too. Flo, I could have given you a 60, but I want to make a statement. I want you, you know, because before we talked, I said that's my first F ever, and I was mad. I was hurt, but she said I could have given you a D, a C, or D, whatever it was. But no, I want you to push yourself. So sure enough, man, Of Mice and Men, read that. What's that one? Bilbo Baggins, The Hobbit, read that. I mean, I've read every book from then on, and brought it up to like a B, like a high C or low
And didn't
B.
you enjoy reading once you
Yes, I did. I have 6 books I have to read. I started 3 of them. Now when I go see my mom, she doesn't have internet. I'm going back in the '70s because she has internet. She doesn't have internet or cable. So I'm gonna bring 3 books to read. So absolutely, I love reading now. So, who was your teacher?
I have too many. I've said before, Charles C. Dixon, definitely. Lanny Warwick. She was my English teacher, and then also my senior year, she was our cheerleading sponsor or coach or whatever. Um, John Hill.
Okay, you gotta tell me why. I mean, pick one and tell me why.
Okay. I just loved Charles C. I loved the way she connected and delivered the content matter. And she treated us like equals. She wasn't condescending as a teacher. And she made you feel really safe. There were no dumb questions. And she was a really motivating teacher. I really just enjoyed her manner. Um, Miss Warwick, she and I just developed a special bond and friendship. I just adored her. She did think I was cheating in her class, which is actually how we became friends. um, we actually became friends once that whole situation got resolved. Um, and then Coach Hill, because I hated math, I was not good at math. He was my algebra teacher, and he's the first math teacher I had who basically said, "You can do this. You have the intelligence to learn algebra 2," or I guess it was algebra 2. You've got this. You've just put a wall up, and so he said, "I'm going to pair you with somebody like a student tutor." It was Luthez.
Oh wow, Luke, that's loop loop.
Luke used to come to my house. He was my algebra tutor, and we talked about it several months ago, or maybe last year. I was on the phone with him, and we laughed about that. He goes, "Hell, I didn't know what the hell I was doing." I said, "Yeah, you did. Obviously, Coach Hill wouldn't have put you with me, and I did learn from you. And I ended up getting a B, which devastated me, but it wasn't. I was a straight A student. So, but in that class, a B was an accomplishment."
Good.
And I've said before in the show that John and Jana Hill really helped me get into college. They paid for my tuition my first year of college, and just were really there for me as like a big brother, big sister, mentors. And so, I got along with all my teachers, but those are the three like that are equal standouts. It's
Yeah.
why I call them out.
Oh, cool. Well, that's probably yeah. We're almost an hour, but guys, that's basically what STS is. Again, we're going to have conversations with classmates and find out what they've done or what they're currently doing, and that's basically in a nutshell. So hopefully, when we reach out to you or you reach out to us and want to come hang out with us for 30 to 45 minutes, this is what we'll do. And there's a lot of classmates out there who will find it will be intrigued to see what you've been doing.
Yeah, and by the way, if you come on the show, you don't have to be as forthcoming and open as Flo and I have been. We felt really compelled to just share who we are and our stories and how we got here, because this is our show. We're hosting this, but you, by all means, do not have to divulge so much information about yourself.
Yeah.
It can be just, about your career or an accomplishment or something that you're proud of, or just come on and just catch up with us.
Yeah.
It doesn't even
Exactly.
have a subject. So I don't want our stories tonight to scare you away because you think that's the expectation. That is not the expectation.
No.
We just felt compelled to share, a more intimate view of who we are to our viewers and
And,
to people that support this show.
yeah, and actually too, I'm glad we did this. I learned more about what you did, and I hope you learned what I did, what I've accomplished in my career. So it's yeah, that's the way it's what it is. We have two for sure STSs. We have Steve Olson that will be coming on. I spoke with Reed Rowell, who just wrote a book Overflow. He's gonna come on, and again, I'm not gonna mention her name yet, but she is a class of '82, and she was in the fashion industry, and she lived in New York. So I when I reached out to her, I said I'd love to share some New York stories with you and hear your New York stories, your time, your experience living in New York. So she said she'll consider it, but I'm pretty sure she'll do it. So you can hear a lot more stuff that I did in New York. And I may tell the story in one of my Chicago stories too when I went and visit or did some sales. Even and also I went to Salt Lake City for sales. I love the mountains. Oh my God! You look to the east, I think, or the west. I forgot. Either way, beautiful mountain skirt. Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh
So
yeah, I loved living in Salt Lake
yeah.
City. I have the most hilarious story that I will have to share with you off the air, um, about a fashion thing in Salt Lake City, and it's. I wish I could share it with our viewers, but we'd have to put a rated R disclaimer on it.
Well, if I have a similar story, a rated R story as well. And maybe I got a 7 hour drive tomorrow. I'll give you a shout. I went on a date with a Mormon, a local woman, girl there because we're young, and yeah, I will share that experience with you. But anyway, guys, hey, thank you for support, and I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and. Stay tuned again for next week from my daughters, Riley and Maya Flores. They're going to be on our show, and again, hopefully, there's nothing that gets in their way, but they're planning to be on there. And Lisa, what would you like to say?
Happy holidays. Enjoy whatever it is that you're planning to do, and hopefully, you don't experience too much stress. Remember to just be present and in the moment and take it all in because each moment you never get back. So be present to get a present.
Absolutely. And then
Yes.
I'll leave it at this again. These stories do come alive what I mentioned earlier, and these are memories are precious to us. Man, come on and leave a footprint. Leave something behind where your classmates can listen to, and your kids or grandkids in your future. I mean, it's something for them to for your family and your friends to enjoy. So don't be bashful. Reach out to us, or if we reach out to you, come on, join us. But anyway, good night, everyone. We'll see you next week, and be nice. Don't get on that naughty list of Santas. Oh, sorry. Peace and love and goat knuckle. Peace
Oh,
and love and goat knuckle. Oh, that hurt. Anyway, good night, you guys.
good night.